Hello, friends. I'm back for a little more here. Thanks for watching. I appreciate my buddies online. I'm isolated. I don't have much to do with anyone. I have a few friends that I see every once in a while that I appreciate, and it's always nice to communicate on this site. I don't go to any other sites. I don't go to Instagram. I don't go to TikTok. I don't think I've ever been on TikTok once. I've been on Instagram years ago. There's some cool stuff on there. I just don't want to have a bunch of apps on my phone. I don't like having a bunch of alerts from different updates. And then I run out of capacity on my phone. So then I got to get a new one or whatever, and I don't want to mess with any of that. My brain does quite a bit on its own, and adding more stuff in is not really what I want to do all the time, especially when it's crammed in all the time. Maybe you dig that yourself. And I know some of you that are in connection with me have said, "Hey, come on over to Instagram or whatever," or TikTok or whatever. And that's why. It's not because I don't care about you. It's because I don't want to do the app. Other than that, I wanted to talk about selfishness, and I wanted to talk about something that's been heavy on my mind lately. And it's a reflection. Selfishness is a reflection on myself and asking myself, how much of a selfish person am I? And something that's I've been really thinking about is, there's the connotation of things, and then there's just reality without perspective or subjective opinion or whatever. And a lot of caring and sharing and a lot of that stuff comes from religions and upbringings, and also to the genetic hereditary behavior. And since I am isolated and I'm away from people, and I'm not really connected as the same as most people are, I might not be in tune with what's hip at the moment. I might not be in line with what other people are doing or what other people are experiencing. So I'm in this place right now where I'm saying to myself, people are pretty selfish. And I look at how the reasons that I'm isolated have to do with my mood swings. Obviously, if I didn't have mood swings, my life would probably be much different than it is. No doubt about that. I don't know if I didn't have mood swings, if I would have had kids and all that stuff. So my isolation is has to do with my thinking about whether or not I'm selfish, and then I'm thinking about circumstance. So, there's a fire that burns inside of me to put my hand out to someone that's, to me, doing a pity type thing. And I don't know if there's really anything the matter with a pitiful situation where, if you really are feeling down or low or depressed and you're not feeling very well, and you're expressing it on this channel, And then it's making me wonder, what's the point of conveying that or relating that on a video publicly, and then there's just really no there's really not a whole lot to it, how it will come around. It's making me want to really ask you, why do you do YouTube? Why do you do your TikToks and your Instagram with the mental health subject, with the category? The videos. Why do you do it? I'll tell you why I do it. I do it because I want to connect with others. I do it because I do want to channel with people that experience the same things that I experience, share information, and I want to impart some things that I think that are pinnacle in what I've come across, or what I think, or things that have been well enough for myself that I can impart those things. In my mind, I'm thinking younger people, and I reach out to a lot of younger people, and I'm always searching the same things: BPD, bipolar, Asperger's. Usually those three. Generally it's BPD. So I'll comment and I'll say hi to everyone, and I'd say probably I do it basically every day, and so I'll put in about a half hour every day into that, and I really don't think other people do that. And I go into the search filter and I put in upload date, and that's where I get the regular people. That's not the psychologists and all that stuff at the very top. That's skewed. I get the regular people, and such as myself, that I'm not affiliated. That's what I mean by regular. I'm not affiliated. I'm not associated with anything. I'm one human being. It's it. And I am opinionated. So, and I'm not repeating textbook anything. I talk about my own experiences, and sometimes some people will talk about things that they've read about in DBT and all that, the dialectable whatever, and some of the things that they mention are extremely good to hear, and others is I don't even, it's not intercepted. I don't take it in at all. I don't want to hear it, really, basically. I'm not really wanting to be conditioned. I'm really wanting to cherry pick. And I think that that's what we have going on here on YouTube, since I used the word cherry pick, is I think that people are going to be cherry picking no matter what. A lot of selfishness. And, sadly, I think that a lot of people are just fake, and they are wanting those numbers. And here's the thing that's really depressing, is that, if that's really what you want, and you want to have some kind of TV channel, TV show thing about yourself, and you're wanting to reach out to a lot of people, I've said this before, if it's going to be about how you're depressed and you're crying and you're not loved or any of that kind of stuff, and you're wanting that to be something that reaches out to get you famous or be someone, I don't know what you're thinking. First of all, there's a handful of people on here under the BPD category or subject that have maybe 5,000 subscribers, maybe 1,300 subscribers is generally the average on the more popular people. And then sometimes there's someone popular that will come in, and I only find their videos through a search on BPD, upload date, filtered, and it will say so and so, and it'll say revealing that I have BPD, and they, they have their makeup on, they're healthy looking, everything's going, and they say they have BPD and all that. They have 500,000 subscribers or whatever, and I'm not really relating to that. I relate to people that are going to come on here, the 1,000 subscribers possibly sometimes. You probably know a couple names. It's Mishi Mavros. I haven't watched any of her videos for a long time. They're not really... She put more head into it years ago, and now she's just wants to sell her shirts, and she wants to make a thing out of it. And I don't doubt that there's not heart still in it. It's just I don't want to hear what she has to say anymore. I could say that about a lot of people on YouTube under the BPD thing. One gal that comes to mind is I don't remember her name. You probably know, because if you're looking up BPD, you found her. She's a very attractive female, and she has that boyfriend that's the Thor-looking fellow with the abs and all that. She has all kinds of good information usually, and a lot of her information comes from the heart and her experiences and things that she goes through. And these are the kind of videos that I want to find. These are the kind of videos that I want to watch. I've watched a lot of videos on here under the subject, the category of anything that has to do with mood swings. And I'd say probably 75% of all of them are an information video, and it's their introductory video. It's what is BPD? What is bipolar? So they'll go through the textbook stuff, the 5 traits, the identifiable traits, which if you go to no search filter, that's what all those videos are, is the psychologist and the psychiatrist saying. And it's usually, what to spot, how to identify these people. And that's a crap connotation, in my opinion. That might be a fact. So selfishness. Well, first of all, I think a lot of the people that I'm looking for and finding on here are depressed, socially inept in a way, or at high anxiety, and they are not really wanting to have anything to do with anyone. They just want to make the video. They want to get some, maybe it's makes them a little more brave. Maybe they have crossed the bridge of the fear of putting yourself up publicly, and that's all they really wanted to do. Or, I've said this before, they are pooped out on the fact that they didn't get a lot of views. It was more important that they got a lot of attention real fast than having to go through months and months of making hundreds and hundreds of videos about yourself, talking about yourself, showing off the things that you have, being materialistic, and this is the stuff that makes those numbers go up. It's usually going to be some kind of charm, or it's going to be some kind of popularity factor where you could say, all right, yeah, and this is where you've got robotics going on, where people are going to be following each other. They see that so-and-so's doing this and this and this and this and this, and they've got 5 million views. I've got to do that too. And so if this is about mental health, then, where's your head on your reason for making these videos where you're crying and you're really flagellating, showing real vulnerable you? and you think that's going to be a 5 million view video or whatever. And so, I mean, I'm talking, I do a lot of welcoming. I do a lot of, this is your first video. Welcome, kind of. Not really, just hi, how are you? Whatever. And I say 90% is maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, they'll say, thanks, hon, or that means so much, thank you. And I might have put maybe 20 minutes into a comment where I'm actually sitting there thinking about every single thing that they said in the video. And I'm pointing out, I'm saying this and this and that, and being very nice. And then they write me back 3 weeks later, thanks, hon. It's a little, it's, they've got 1 view, 2 view, 1 subscriber, me, and nothing. Now, I've thought about how YouTube manipulates the website, which they do. They manipulate the numbers. Why wouldn't they manipulate the comments? And someone as opinionated as myself, and that actually wants to do things for people, that gets in the way of their agenda. So, and I don't know really what they got going on there, so there's not really a whole lot I can say about that. I do know that I've seen all kinds of people that are controversial, that talk about things that are controversial or against the system, and they will publicly talk about how their comments have, messages that come into them, or their comments don't even come in. So they've looked into it and they don't even get the comment. So yeah, you could pair that with paranoia or whatever. Or it's actually happening, of course. If you have your head up your butt, then you do not realize that they do manipulate the numbers. They manipulate the subs, the views, and if they say 5,000K views, then they can take views away, and you'll never know how many views were there. I mean, it has to be to the T. If it's not to the T, you're not going to know how many people actually watched the video, how anything actually was, real. And it's not nonsense that they have ridiculous reasons that they demonetize people that really want to make a profession out of their YouTube videos. And then, now they have the shorts, and it's basically an advertisement to go over to TikTok, in my opinion. And what are you going to convey in 30 seconds? Well, to me, it's just humanity being compressed, your feelings being compressed. So it becomes more of a puzzle. Can you be clever? Can you be a clever person? So I've seen a couple of people that I found through BPD or whatever, crawling through boxes, and then they disappear on the other side, or they're doing little cooking shows for 30 seconds. And to me, if they're compressing you and compressing you and compressing you, you're going to get less. If they're demonetizing videos for stupid reasons or no reason, just saying cuz, and you put in quite a bit into that video, and then you don't have a reason why it was that way, and then you say to yourself, it was probably because of this, probably because, well, that's the kind of shit that they want. They want you sitting there thinking that way. In actuality, they're going to rub people out. They're just not going to pay a lot of people, and they're going to demolish what people have done in YouTube, the same as they demolish what people have done in websites in the 20 years prior to YouTube. Websites are basically obsolete. Forums are basically obsolete. I mean, these are things that people put thousands of hours into that were hot at one point. for a good reason, and then now they're not. And then now people go over to YouTube. Now they go to TikTok. Now they go to, it'll be something new. If it was Instagram, now it's TikTok. Then it'll be something else. Then it'll be something else. And you get my point. You get my drift. So, for your selfish reasons, ask yourself, what's the point of even doing it in the first place? Because you're just going to get jerked around. So I'm using it for actual connections. And I'm not talking about, if I really wanted some kind of vain connection, I would go on Linked or whatever and do some kind of business type thing. And I don't want that either. I don't want anything to do with those fucking people. I really feel connected with my brothers and sisters. And the way I look at it is the people that are my brothers and sisters. So it's not every person that's walking out on the street. It's people that I can identify with, people that I can relate with. And as I put it, similar minds, similar brains. And I've mentioned to people that maybe, hey, seek similar brains. And then there's maybe a little more fluidity to life when you're around people that are similar to you, the weirdos, the freaks. Because in my life, I've only had a more smooth ride with the freaks, with the weirdos. Even though where are they today, I don't know. I don't know where a lot of those people are anymore. I just know that during a certain amount of time during my life, I had a ride with them. And anytime I wanted to fit in where I didn't have their brains were not similar to mine, we're talking bored, for one, robotics, textbook living. I never liked any of it. I never wanted anything to do with any of that stuff. So I think what I've been thinking about, selfishness, is really kicking me big time, and it hurts a lot. It hurts inside my heart because a lot of my morale or my meaning of life has been connection with others. And the more and more that gets blue or separates from feeling, and I can push it out as much as I can. I can push it and push it and push it. I could say, no, there's something good there. There's something good there. And if reality keeps coming in that people are just selfish, and I'm not saying narcissistic, I'm saying just selfish, that I've got to ask myself, well, why do I want anything to do with other people? And that's something I don't really want to. I don't want to fight, and so at some point there's just going to be acceptance that people are just selfish, and then that reflects on myself, and I got to say to myself, well, so am I. And then if there's any extending myself all the time, then why am I doing that in the first place? Why am I extending myself? If others are not extending themselves, why am I? Why does a person break down and say to themselves that life is horrible? Take everything they have, go out to another country, just help people, which is happens. And then they're dry, they have nothing. Those people are not going to take care of that person. So that person has to make their way back to civilization that, again, is kicking their face in. There's no doubt that the nicest people, or the most non-selfish people that I've ever known, are not upper class, for sure. If I'm wanting love or some sweetness in life that has to do with connection with others, then I probably, and not so much probably, I will go to places where there's not rich people, where there's not people that have a lot. If I want to feel coldness outside of me, other than online, and I'm talking about in a personal setting, I'll go be around rich people. That's where I'll feel coldness. And if I want to feel acceptance or real fast acceptance, cared for, I'd go to church, which I'd rather just melt in acid before I'd go to that. And a lot of people will go to bars for quick acceptance as well, because there's high spirits, and it's a lot of times on their front sign, spirits. Come to the spirits and liquor, spirits and beer. And there's a liquor store right next to the bar. I can go to the liquor store and get a couple of beers, and quite a bit of beers for maybe $4 or so. Or I can go to the bar for company and spend $4 on one little Bud Light, little plastic cup pile of crap. Poured out beer, whatever. So you're paying for that companionship that's basically skewed by the alcohol. People are happy. Yeah, man. Everyone's all happy. Then you can get laid that night or whatever and not even really remember it the next day, and put yourself into probably a crappy situation. Quick story. I was maybe 22. I was at a bar with some older guys, and it was kind of a biker bar. And it was a somewhat slow night, and we were all sitting in there. And this younger gal, I was younger too, so we were about the same age. She just walked up to me, and she said, "You can take me home if you want." And I said, "Nah, I don't really want to." She started crying, and she went back to her table crying, and they were looking at me like I was a piece of shit. That's the kind of stuff that you end up with when you go to bars, just grief. So, you can go and buy your friends at church, or you can buy your friends at bars, or your lay or whatever, or your quick boyfriend or your quick girlfriend. And then there's online, where it's open space, and we're talking online. I can reach out to everyone in all countries. I've made buddies with people in Russia. I've talked a little to people in European countries. I've talked to people in China with mood swings. I've talked to some people in South America. One wanted money, and when she didn't get the money, she was mad. What's new? And selfishness, the coldness. So those are basically my thoughts on selfishness. I don't want to be. I'm isolated. I don't identify myself as an entirely selfish person. And if I am selfish, I like myself to remind myself basically every day that I'm much more than just myself. And a lot of the things in life where I could make it to that next day had a lot to do with just some words that someone had said to me the day before on a video, or someone had said to me on the street. It's a profound impact that someone can make just by them having that sense that humanity in a whole is not lost unto you, unto yourself. You're not having to completely be cut off from humanity. Because I gotta tell you, there's with these mood swings, there's a lot of times where I want to say that everyone is this and everyone is that, and they're not. And I know this. I know there's a lot of hearts out there. And I say it's more of a fallible situation on YouTube where people do not know that the search results, the results of their search are skewed to go to their psychologists and all that at the top. And I'd say it's just they just don't know yet. You know, I go at something, I go, and other people they don't really do that. So not in the sense of what I've done on this fucking site. It's not, they just don't do what I'm doing, where I'm going into the search, I'm filtering out this, I'm filtering out that, so that way I can get closer and closer to someone that actually has something very, very good to say, or a connection. And I just think that 99.9 fucking percent of people just don't know that. And so all of YouTube is just basically a connotation that YouTube, so it's a show about you, and people, if you don't get views and all that stuff, it is a connotation that it is a reflection that you're not good enough, kinda, especially with mood people. And if they knew this, they'd go in the same as I go in, and they'd go into the search filter, and they would get that, and then they could start going through the people, and then they can start watching other people's videos, and then they could realize that there's 1,000 freaking videos where they're all what is BPD? BPD, the 5 characteristics that BPD. Then they would realize, okay, yeah, that's done way too much. And then they would realize that there's a lot of people that cry on here and do a lot of pity stuff and have nothing to do with anyone in the comments. They just want to go on there and cry. Or recently I found an adult dancer down in Texas. She's fairly interesting. She doesn't even send those heart things. She doesn't send anything. She doesn't comment. Nothing. She's just bang, bang, bang. She makes her videos, and that's it. And she had one video where she talked about how she has depression or bipolar or BPD or whatever. So that's how I found her. And so all these things I can keep in mind, and I can keep going. And it's not looking good as far as the reception that people have on here. And I've seen thousands of videos where people will introduce themselves and they do not come back in. If I'm subscribed to them, full notified, they don't come back in. So why? What's the reason? Why do they do that? If I had to guess, it'd be what I've been saying. So, and maybe this video was a little something for you there on the analytical portion of this whole site here. And right now, I'd say this is the best site you could use, because you can upload gigabytes upon gigabytes until they freeze your whatever or do whatever to you. And you can have that video form, and condensed 30-second videos are dumb. TikTok is dumb, in my opinion, as far as for what I use it for this connection, all the things that I've been talking about. For other reasons, if you're wanting to expand yourself in a professional way and you want to make money and all that stuff, maybe do something that has to do with interests, video games, sewing, cars. Get my drift? Not so much just crying, just saying, oh, pity, pity. I have a true story. 1,000 subscribers, please. I don't think so. Not going to happen. First of all, no one's going to give a shit about you. They're not going to give a shit about your tears. And they're not, and it's not, and I'm the one who cares. And I'm just one person. I'm not 1 million people. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Demographic. Look that up. Google it. Demographic. Once you get down the demographic situation, then you realize in a professional sense, those people that are making their way so that way they can get their RVs and then they upgrade to a sailboat and then they're sailing around the Mediterranean and they're cool and they're really good looking and they're charming and they're exciting and you have no idea where they're coming from, you have no idea who their lineage is or anything, then you'll understand that if you want to be famous on this site, that it's not going to be by crying or talking about how your brain's fucked up. That's my point. So, maybe that's something that you could use. That's something that's good for you. And I look forward to making buddies on here. And I look forward to meeting people with true hearts. And I really look forward to people that want to dig. And it doesn't mean that you've got to come along and I've got a bone for you. I look forward to people that want to get closer and closer and closer to this mental health thing where they can really get on top of it instead of really crying about it or saying that their lives are this or that. Really having some kind of information that they can truly impart to a few people or 100 or 1,000 people. I have found people on this site that have done that. At least the way it came through to me, that the way that it imparted to me, where months and months went by and I was thinking about what they said. I used what they said and it was absolutely relevant to how my life had changed after that, for what I'd like to say, the better. So, I'm sending my love. I care about people that give a shit about the mental health situation. I really do. I'm somewhat tunnel vision on that quite a bit on this site because it means a lot to me. And if you're concerned about getting those numbers or getting yourself propped up, I don't give a shit about you at all. And I understand if that's what you want to do. If you're doing it in the mental health area, I think you're a piece of shit. And just, I think you have a big heart if you want to share something that's really boosted you up. I think you do, because you're taking time out of your day, you're taking time out of your mind, you're expending energy, you're expending yourself, so that way you could do something for a stranger that you've never met, and it just feels good to do so. It just feels good to do that. It's not a simple thing. You get a lot out of doing that. I do. I get a lot out of that. And it doesn't need to be, I really don't need to, I don't need to get a comment. I don't need to get anything really. I can put my head down on my pillow and I can think to myself, yeah, I sent out 10 or 12 welcome to YouTube videos today. And I can feel pretty good about that. I can I can feel I can I can get a little bit of feeling in a very dark time from doing something for others that I don't know. I could shoot that. I can send out that ping, and it can bounce off forever and ever in the ocean. And if it does something for anyone, I always have that in my mind that I am doing that I have done that without any kind of mystical I'm going to be taken care of in heaven or any of that kind of stuff. Just none of it. It's all just straight inside of my head, where I get a feeling, or I get some juice, or I get a boost from knowing that I had done that, or remembering that I had done that, as I'm laying there very depressed, and I can get something from that. I get a little lift off from it. So that's basically explaining what I get out of it, basically. Because a lot of people will say, well, why the hell would you do that? Why would you do that? What's in it for you, man? What's in it for you? And I even ask myself that quite a bit, especially when it's so dry and so cold. That's why I do it, basically. And I have a little bit inside of me that I remind myself that others have imparted these things that have been really good to myself. So I know that it's kind of given back a little bit. It's knowing what they had done for me. They don't know that they did that for me. I have expressed a lot of it to a lot of these people and said, hey, thank you, thank you. Some of them, they might not have really received it that way. They might not have thought of it that way, because these are mood swing people. And then back towards myself, I'm saying to myself, well, that's myself then, as I'm sending it out. And a lot of these things, I'm not even going to know that it went out, or if a comment made it through, or whatever. I'm in the dark, kind of, it seems. And the light is just my perspective, my thinking on what I have done, what I've carried over or imparted to others before I am dead. So anyways, I want the best for everyone. And if you have anything, any kind of questions, or if you have any kind of concern or any of that, you always can say hi in the comments. You always can message me. You always can come through over here, and I will always come back to you. And regardless of what mood I'm in. So you have yourself a very lovely night.